Dear soon-to-be graduates of the Diplomatic Academy, Vienna School of International Studies, École des Hautes Études Internationales, welcome. Welcome to you and your families, friends who are here. Welcome to the sponsors we have, welcome to our partners, and welcome to our faculty and staff, which is also sitting here. When I say welcome once a year to the soon-to-be graduates, I always start with saying this was a special year. And every year it's true. Every year it's true. Things change so fast. I guess you have experienced that in this last year, and you will expect that it will happen again. So for me, it's a real honor and pleasure to welcome you here as director of this school, because I myself graduated in the diploma program some time ago, and I can somehow recollect what I thought when I finished here. I thought, what will happen afterwards? What will I do? I was not sure. Not sure. Finally, I decided to go to the foreign ministry, the Austrian foreign ministry, but only for 2 years. Then I started to do something else. So I'm saying this because this year, I hope, provided for you possibilities. Possibilities not only for the career, but for your personality. Because if there is something, when I'm asked, and I'm quite often asked, what does leadership mean? I always say, yes, knowledge is important, but actually behind that is empathy. What is my personality? What do I really think about things? What is my emotional intelligence in contact with others? How do I treat my friends? How do I treat the world? And as we know, many people say peace always starts at home. And that's true, maybe more than it was years ago. But I want actually to say, I had the feeling that this year you enjoyed what you had to do. It was not so easy sometimes, I know, a lot of different activities. But you had the chance to work and live with so many colleagues from different continents, countries, academic backgrounds, social backgrounds, whatever. And that's an experience we will keep, we will carry on with you. And that's maybe the only time in life where you really could enjoy all this. There was not so much competition between you. You wanted to achieve something, and here we are. You are the class of 2025. And I think the motto that you have decided for your course, Bridging Worlds, is very relevant, not only for what we are experiencing around us, but for you, for your group. 27 people from, what was it? 3 continents, 14 countries. Studies backgrounds ranging, as usual, from political science, law, economics, but also to certainly languages, but also to, as I remember rightly, banking, biology, music, philosophy, and medicine. I always especially greet our medicine students because I think there's a long way to go from studying medicine to working in international relations, but an important part of your work. I'm not sure why you're laughing, but there must be a good reason for that. In one instance, you are a very typical class. 2/3 female, only 1/3 male. We have to do something in our marketing that we get more people from my gender. For me, it was fascinating to see, especially in the final presentations, how you not only prepared very well, congratulations to all of the presentations, but also how different your approaches were to the tasks that we set you. And in spite of the different ways of approaching it, you all managed to do it very good and excellent. Many of you excellent, really, indeed. And that's also something my faculty was saying. I am standing here because I'm not only director of this academy, but academic director of the diploma program. That's the reason why we are here, why I am here. I have to say, in my now almost 8 years as director of this academy, the most rewarding thing was and is actually the work with you, with the students. And I had going through my mind and through my hands almost 1,000 students in these 8 years. So I have some experience of what this means to you and what is possible and what one can actually do with you and for you. Trying to equip you with the best possible for the future, that we all do not know what it really will look like, whether we are here or whether we are anywhere else in the world. We gave you our best to provide you with the best perspectives for not only the job market, but for your future life. Some people say this is almost like a finishing school. We are certainly a graduate school. We are a very high finishing school, I would say, but the idea that it's much more than just giving you another academic distinction or a diploma is not enough for us. Because what you will experience, and we are experiencing already, and are the 3 Ds, as I want to say. It's disruption. Don't have to mention names here. Disruption. Diplomacy. Never believe if anybody tells you that diplomacy is failing. Never believe that. Diplomacy is working. But the problem is really, is politics listening to what diplomacy is doing? That's our huge problem at the moment. You have experienced in all the courses we had, but also in the skills training, how much there are diplomatic activities. But if you are in a situation where negotiations are not possible because one side simply doesn't want to negotiate, then it's very difficult. And you know better than I, we could speak about all the conflicts that we have everywhere. So the task is really, in international relations, to find ways to bring people together to negotiate. Because at the end of the day, diplomacy means trying to either keep or make peace possible. And even if you don't work in the classical field of diplomacy, any job you will fulfill in the international relations is about diplomacy. In a few of my courses, I started, when I spoke about diplomacy, saying, if you want to understand diplomacy, read Robinson Crusoe, the book by Daniel Defoe. Because that's the best diplomatic book I've ever read. Because it's a book about a person stranded somewhere on an island, 18th century, early Enlightenment period, where he's alone, or at least he believes he's alone. And suddenly other people come up. First, pirates, I think, come up, wild animals, and then he frees someone, a person from the pirates, and he tries to communicate with him. They don't have the same language. He is still this very uphanded European approach. He gives a name to this person. He calls him Friday. He starts to learn that this guy has a language. And not only English is the language of communication. So diplomacy starts really with the first time anybody communicates. And so if you have time, I always ask you to read literature. And finally, from the 3 Ds, it's democracy. Democracy is really in decline. And I don't believe that we should leave the future to a situation without democratic beliefs and convictions. And it's really also up to you whether we can see democracy rather spread than being reduced. There are different definitions of democracy, but I think basically we all understand what we are talking about. We are talking about that there is a population which has a say in politics, which is free to choose how they want to be governed and what the government should look like. So these are huge tasks in front of you. Live in disruption, try to speak out for diplomacy, and finally, hopefully for democracy. You had so many chances in this year to discuss these matters with the faculty, with experts in our skills service, and special counseling. You had the chance also to meet companies, to meet organizations where you possibly can work. You had chances of going for internships. But you did even more. You didn't only discuss economics, conflicts. You did a lot also, which this school has always been proud of. You learned languages. One of the great things of the diploma program is languages are important simply. So please give a hand to our dedicated language department. They are sitting here in the first row. Please. Although they told you sometimes to work day and night, which was necessary sometimes. I also want to thank your course speakers, because they were helpful in making sure that everybody takes you serious and the program serious. And certainly also the DASI. DASI representatives are somewhere here. Are DASI representatives here? No DASI representatives, so you're on your own. But still, they worked for you. And I have to say thank you that you also contributed to what we think is the best marketing one can do in such an institution. You spoke to other people who possibly want to join this school at our open houses, but also certainly in direct contacts. So you did a lot more than just the academic work here. I'm not reiterating, because you know it better than anybody else, what else you did with all the ball activities, with the conferences you organized. You're writing for the magazine, I have to mention. I really like that you participated in the magazine Polemics, the different student communities and societies, celebrate the Lunar New Year of the Snake. As I heard, I was not present, but I heard about that. And you were not so small, but cozy, DA delegation of more than 120 altogether in Brussels. And some of you went to Geneva also. Well, I think you had the chance to attend events which only such a school can offer. Politicians coming from anywhere to discuss issues. Because I see a Palestinian symbol here in the first front row. We are discussing Middle East issues a lot here, also with you. We had a lecture by the Jordanian ambassador, for instance, on Middle Eastern issues in your year here. And in addition, you even for the first time contributed to a sailing regatta in Croatia. I'm not sure who of you was that. Ah, there it is. There it is. That was a first for the Diplomatic Academy, as far as I know. I'm not asking whether you won, but it's good that you... Third? No, well, fourth place. Congratulations, anyhow. And you had your good times at upstairs, what your predecessors started to call the Tipsy Wiesel. And this Friday, you're all invited to our legendary Sommerfest to celebrate simply at the end of this day. So, in short, you were studying together, traveling together, celebrating together, living together, and maybe this was the important part of this year that we spent together. I have to thank 3 groups of people without whom it would not have been possible to achieve this, and it's My thanks goes first of all to the faculty of the DA, who guided you through the whole academic year. Our chairs, postdocs, visiting professors, guest lecturers from various places. I always ask them, don't differentiate between our MICE program, the 2 years program, and the DLG program as far as what you ask of them is concerned. And I do know that they understand what it means, that they ask a lot of you. And I think it's good. At least, there we are, you graduate. But I also would like to thank another group, the group of our sponsors, private persons, organization companies, banks, institutions, the city of Vienna, the foreign ministry. So a lot of people are trying to contribute that you and other students here can actively participate. And without their generous support, it would not have been possible to do this work here. But the real person which I have to thank are your families and your friends, because without them you would have been poorer during your studies, sometimes in every sense of the word. So thank you to the parents, families, and friends. When we started together, beginning of October, in the festive hall of the city of Vienna, I guess you remember, almost all of you were already here. There are always visa issues. We celebrated 270 years anniversary of this place. So we can look back on a long history. And you are now part of this glorious tradition. You are part of this, simply. And I hope you will also help shape its future, just as you have been actively contributing to the DA life in this academic year. And we had together the luck that this year, when we inaugurated the academic year, we were not talking too much about, let's call it, the traditional diplomacy. We had as our guest of honor and speaker Volker Türk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights. That was a good occasion to celebrate 270 years in our given situation with such a speaker of honor. And he was very outspoken. He said, yes, we all have our careers in mind, we all have our specific interests in mind, but let us not forget that there's a world out there which will not survive, as he said, without our active participation. In everything we do, and especially in those things we can only do together, like working against the climate change, mitigating the climate change, making sure that there is a global rules-based order, making sure that the governance of this globe is working better than it is at the moment. It's not in a good shape, as we all know. And I think to re-enlive the spirit of this place, it was very good that you could also experience a person like Volker Türk. So you will leave here as DA alumni, and I hope that you will stay part of this community and that you will join also our alumni association. It's your alma mater. At the moment, the network of alumni reaches more than 120 countries in our club DA, and it has its local chapters, between 12 and 15 local chapters. So wherever you work in the future, there hopefully will be a chapter where you can contribute. We always want to stay as closely connected as possible. And when you achieve something, you know, there's always a chance to get on our wall of fame. It's out there. And you can see how different the people are who are in this Hall of Fame. By the way, you have seen the last time we added 3 new people at inauguration. First of all, by pure chance, 3 women, first time. And secondly, one of them the managing director of Amnesty International Austria. At the moment, she's very outspoken on Austrian television, mainly about the situation in Gaza, but also with Israel and Iran. But I'm quite convinced that there's a lot in front of you, because I read in your student yearbook that you assemble a lot of good qualities and skills, making the world a better place, getting things done, even expecting that one of you will be an inspiration for a painting. I'm not asking who will that be. And very important, helping each other. I even heard that one of you is very likely to become a famous poet and to get the Nobel Prize for Literature. And another one is likely to abolish capitalism. That might be you. Okay. You are a diverse group of people, as I said. But whatever it is, stay subversive. Stay subversive. Use your own head. Be critical about everything that you achieve, that you can achieve. And the most subversive thing I ask you to do is keep on reading. Reading is the most subversive activity because it always gives you new ideas, and it maybe throw away old ideas. We had an Austrian Nobel Prize winner who said, you know what, every morning under the shower I throw out my old ideas to have space for new ones. That's a good advice, actually, to follow. And whatever you do, speak out for free speech. I think these years this is especially important. And this school is a liberal arts college, is a liberal graduate college. So speak out for free speech. And one more thing I hope you experienced, that there is something like a European way of life. For all of you, not whether European or not European, there is something. And actually Mr. Trump is helping us to learn that there's a European way of life. Mr. Putin has already learned us this. And so speak out for the European way of life if you are convinced. Because, again, if we don't do it, there are big ones out who are looking for prey. And Europe might be on their table. I hope altogether you had an interesting, rewarding, and productive and enjoyable academic year. A few of you, as I know, enjoyed it as much that you will stay for another year in the MICE. So all the best for the group, and one of them for Ezia here. Never forget Ezia. We are proud of you. The group of 27 talented and ambitious young people. Go out into the world as responsible and active citizens and keep bridging worlds, as you said. I wish every one of you all the best for your future, and I'm proud of the class of 2025. Thank you.
So, dear director, dear deputy director, distinguished guests, colleagues, and given that this is your event, most of all, dear students. On this special day, I have the privilege of saying a few words about your achievements, and I'm really truly happy because we don't differentiate that all of you made it here today. And this is not just an empty phrase that I say every year, because we have from time to time some students that take a little longer to complete the program. So it's really an achievement that everyone who started the program in the 61st Bridging World DLG cohort is here and graduates today. You can be proud of this achievement. For those who don't know me, I'm the resident economics professor. So usually what I do is I use the blackboard, I use slides, I use formulas, presentations. Nothing is here today, so I don't have the comparative advantage of holding long festive speeches. But that said, even without the blackboard, I want to say three things in my speech. The first one is I want to talk about the DA community, the DA spirit, why I think it's different from other institutions. And second, I want to offer my perspective on why I think the DLG program is so unique. These are all things that you are well aware of, but I think this is the occasion to mention them again. And then finally, and I have to apologize in advance, I want to lecture you one last time about a topic which is important to me, which is the tension between good economics and good politics. But I will be brief. So let me begin here in our Festsaal looking out onto the courtyard. I have a very good view from my office to the courtyard, and what I see is on a daily basis I see students sitting there together, laughing together, studying together, playing table tennis together, and I think this is one of the evidence, this is testimony to the good spirit that we have, the DA spirit alive in action. And I want to underscore this by giving you two illustrations. So last year I took my elderly daughter, my older daughter, to the campus. She's 13, and we went upstairs to play billiards, and then suddenly one of the students started playing the piano. And she asked me, is this really a university? Is this your workplace? Are you going every day to work to such a place? And I said, yes, it's a very special university, and I enjoy coming to work here, maybe not every day, but most of the days. And I think that playful spontaneity is not an exception, it's the rule. And I can give you another example. 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, we had our 5th tennis tournament, and I see some players around here. And why do I mention this? Because it's always on a Sunday, yeah? But still we have students that are willing to spend their free time with professors, and the faculty in turn value these non-academic interactions. This is something which you do not have on a usual university. Also, this year we had a high share of alumni, which is proof to the fact that the DA community remains strong even after graduation. So this is what, in my opinion, sets the DA apart from more conventional institutions. So the DA is not just a place of learning, it's a community. And though you graduate today, I hope you will carry this spirit and keep building these connections wherever you go. The spirit, of course, also depends on some people, yeah? On visible leadership, on individuals who actively shape, protect, and promote the values of this community. And I want to use this occasion on behalf of the faculty to thank such a person for leadership for the last 8 years. I would like to thank Ambassador Emil Brix for his term, for always supporting the faculty, for his efforts to strengthen the academic pillar of the institution. We had a lot of reforms, structural reforms implemented over the last years, which probably are not there in the back, they are not so visible to the students. So I want to mention some of them. So during Ambassador Briggs' tenure, we established for the first time the position of junior faculty. So we want to bring in new, fresh blood, so to say, motivated scholars who are going to teach then the next cohorts of the DLG. And not only the DLG, but for the other programs at the DA. So you were also instrumental in laying the groundwork for a 5th discipline, cultural studies. And we hope this discipline will soon be led by a full professor and housed in its own department. And finally, and this is probably more visible to you, we had also structural reforms in the study department, which is now led by Rieger, and I'm pretty confident that all these reforms also will help making the DA an even better place to study and grow in the future. So dear Emil, thank you on behalf of the faculty for all your efforts, and we wish you all the best for your future and new role as president of the Austrian Research Association. So let's return now to the DLG program, where I, as a data-loving and empirical economist, can't resist making a forecast prediction. So what's my model, what's my data? Those trusty yearbooks full of alumni who've gone on to become presidents, ministers, CEOs, top civil servants, non-profit pioneers, and star journalists. So based on that data, my prediction is crystal clear. You are headed for an exceptionally bright future. There's just one catch. Economists are not very good at making predictions. And this is not just saying so, because there's also a study from the IMF who showed that the last 150 recessions, so out of the last 150 recessions, economists missed to predict 148. So if I'm ever wrong about your prospects, at least I'll be in good company. But then again, some things are easier to explain than the global economy. So I think the excellent track record of DLG graduates may well have something to do with the design of the program itself. You're receiving a rigorous education across 5 academic disciplines and 3 languages. You're now versatile in cultural studies, European law, international law, European politics, international trade and finance, areas of world history, and expressing yourself well in English, German, and French. So no pressure on you, just know that our Hall of Fame has room for many more stars. So let me stress on a personal note that I've always enjoyed teaching you. As I said, I don't make any difference between the programs. It's the same exam, it's the same material, everything is the same. And this part in my speech is also always the same, because now I'm saying that you have been much more active than your peers from the MICE program. But it's always true. It's every year it's the same. The DLG group is the most active in econ, asking me a lot of questions, out-of-the-box questions, sometimes we have to think how to answer this, but it always offers a very fresh perspective. And I also want to say that, and also on behalf of the director, we've been very impressed by your final presentations. This year we had 5 students also choosing some economic assignments, covering areas of whether the Brix countries should create an own reserve currency, to climate economics, and problems of a rising trend in protectionism. So these are topics, these are very complex topics. And this shows me that you do not shy away from these complex, very topical issues, which means that you are prepared to go out into the world and shape these policies yourself in the future. So now comes the lecture. So let me say a few more words on my discipline, economics. And one of the great ironies of my discipline is this: we do not need to understand economics in order to experience economics. So what does this mean? Your everyday life is full of economics. It consists of voluntary exchange. You invest your time to study here at the DA, giving up other opportunities. You could have more spare time or started working earlier. You go to the supermarket to buy food, sometimes drinks. You might sell your old econ books on eBay. You might also have to or had to apply for a student loan or any loan in the future. So this means that your everyday life consists of dealing with trade-offs, opportunity cost, and prices. So now you might think, right, so why did we have to study economics? Why did we have to read the textbooks and so on? Because we experience it all the time. And the short answer is this: although economics can be experienced without understanding, we might need to understand it in order to keep the benefits from it. And what are these benefits? The benefits actually come from the freedom of exchange. No one forced you to come to the DA to study here. It was your idea, it was a voluntary decision. And in exchange for this, you got education, and we got the study fees to pay for all the expenses that we have at the DA. So this is a voluntary exchange, and then you can think about, if no one forces you, that both parties, the seller and the buyer, actually benefit from this voluntary exchange. So what this means is economics left alone is a positive sum game. Everyone benefits. But the problem is that the freedom of exchange exists only under an institutional framework. There have to be rules that guide this freedom of exchange, and this is where you come into play. Because, as your yearbooks suggest, many of you will end up working in diplomacy or other ministries, institutions that are responsible for the conditions under which freedom of exchange happens. And these institutions are not led by economists, they are led by politicians. And politics is a completely different thing. It's not a positive sum game, it's a zero-sum game. If one party gains votes, it implies that another party lost votes. So there are winners and losers, and this is a completely different setting from economics. So this then results also in the situation that politicians very often are short-sighted in the sense that they look from voting cycle to voting, election cycle to election cycle, try to maximize votes, strive for influence, and ignore long-run effects of policies. What they also do is that they very often concentrate benefits of a policy on small, well-organized groups, while dispersing the costs to the general, maybe ignorant public, to the taxpayers and consumers. This is not good economics. So concentrate benefits on a small group, but the costs on everyone is not good economics. By contrast, good economics would concentrate costs on those who benefit or make the decision in order to ensure a transparent debate over whether the policy is worthwhile in the first place. And in general, economics would favor policies that spread benefits broadly across the population. So now if you think this is too long, this is too complicated, I just would like you to remember one thing. More often than not, good economics conflicts with good politics under democracy. And we hence need students that go into the public sector to remember this. We need students that do not get trapped by groupthink, inertia, and self-preservation, issues that frequently plague institutions. We need you to keep you out of the box thinking. Don't only show this out of the box thinking in your econ classes. Now, if you go out, if you become a high civil servant or even a minister, please keep this out of the box thinking. It's very important. This brings me to the end of my speech. As you step out of these halls and into the wider world, carry with you the DA spirit of curiosity, community, and courage. Remember that every policy you shape, every negotiation you lead, and every conversation you have holds the power to make this world a better place. Stay connected to each other, to this academy, and to the ideals that brought you here. On behalf of the faculty, I congratulate you once more on your achievement. The world awaits your leadership. Make it better. Thank you.
And now we call the graduates of DLG program. Dilan Asherifi, Austria. Kim Berglöff, Austria. Moritz Boswirt, Austria. Sara Chernin, Austria. Mate de Leeuw, Netherlands. Alexander Exler, Austria, United States of America. Marta Fraschetti, Italy. Narine Gabrielian, Armenia. William Farquharson Häusler, Austria, United Kingdom. Larissa Hofmacher, Austria. Jahangir Islamov, Tajikistan. Klaudia Kasprzyszyk, Poland. Helen Keller, Germany. Marina Kwiatkowska, Ukraine. Eva Maria Luckstein, Austria. Laura Marquina, Mexico, Spain. Fiona McFarlane, United States of America, United Kingdom. Max Morland, United Kingdom. Tanja Rieger, Austria. Sebastian Thomas Rosenauer, Austria. Daniel Schattauer, Austria. Katrin Schimtz-Rubatscher, Austria. Markus Schweitzer, Italy. Hanyang Song, China. Sarah Stutzenstein, Austria. Jillian Suyet, United States of America. Julia Weiss, Austria.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dear Excellency Director Brix, classmates, faculty, staff, families, and friends. As we gather here for the 61st DLG graduation, I want to begin by inviting you all to look back with me, not just at what we achieved, but at how it felt to share this journey. When we started at the Diplomatic Academy, we all brought our own expectations and hopes. Some of us dreamed of mastering new languages. Others simply hoped to survive those 8:30 a.m. classes, whether it was French, English, or German. No matter how many courses we took, we all shared the challenges of early mornings, the occasional scramble to be on time, and the comfort of seeing familiar faces. Our year together became a patchwork of shared moments, late-night study sessions, game nights, Christmas parties, and meetups at Trinity or other pubs. We explored Vienna on our bicycle tour, and some of us even spent weekends in museums, officially in the name of coursework, but also for the joy of discovery. We struggled through international economics, history, international relations, and law, sometimes fueled by enthusiasm, sometimes by caffeine. We also faced challenges beyond the classroom. Many of us remember the effort it took to secure everyone's spots in the après-label preparation courses. And who could forget our study trip to Brussels? We wandered the halls of European institutions, endured what felt like an endless wait at the NATO security check, And, perhaps most importantly, figured out which Belgian waffle reigns supreme. For the record, Liège waffles win, hands down. But beyond the anecdotes, what truly connects us is what we've learned, not only about our fields, but about each other and about ourselves. The lessons from the DA aren't just academic, they're about resilience, teamwork, and the power of community. Today marks a moment of transition for more than just us students. This graduation also marks the farewell of His Excellency Emil Brix, a true Central European whose vision and dedication have shaped the DA and Austria's foreign services for decades. From serving as ambassador to the United Kingdom and Russia to his leadership as the director of the DA since 2017, his influence has been profound. With his departure, an era comes to an end, both for the DA and for the BMI, the Austrian Foreign Ministry, where he has long been a cornerstone of Austria's international cultural policy and a champion of Central European cooperation. He is and remains a true Central European with a big heart for our neighborhood. Many of us, including myself, had the privilege of joining his Current Issues lecture series, where we tackled pressing global challenges. Furthermore, he was a reassuring presence in our final presentation, offering fair criticism and encouragement, even as the days ran very long. His passion for dialogue and regional cooperation has left a lasting mark on our institution and on all of us who had the honor to learn from him. It is only fitting that we honor his legacy as we celebrate our own milestones. So before we look to the future, let's take a moment to appreciate the reality we've shared, the challenges, the laughter, the friendships. Thank you to our teachers, our families, and to each other for making this journey possible. Of course, every journey is not just about where we've been, but also where we're going. That's why I'm glad to share this stage with my colleague and dear friend Tanja, who will now guide us forward to the possibilities of our future. As I pass the word to her, let's look ahead together, to the bridges we are about to build, and to the new beginnings that await us all.
Thank you, Kim, for reminding us of the precious experiences we've shared over the past year, memories that will surely remain among our fondest. I want to begin by expressing my deep appreciation for the name our cohort has chosen this year. Words, once spoken, carry a remarkable kind of power, and Bridging Worlds arrives at a moment when that power feels more vital than ever. But why? I cannot tell you today whether diplomacy can save the world, but I am glad to say it can bridge it. Interestingly, the word bridge has a curious etymology. When I looked it up, I discovered that bridge and break, they share the same Indo-Germanic root, both evolving from one single origin, one meaning split apart. A reminder, perhaps, that diplomacy, like language, is born out of tension, but aspires to connection. What this means is, where there is a break in our world, we are called to be the ones to build the bridge, each of us uniquely, yet together. I cannot say whether diplomacy can save the world, but let us take a moment to reflect on how many worlds we have already bridged. Armenia, Austria, Germany, Hong Kong, China, Italy, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Spain, the Netherlands, Poland, Tajikistan, United Kingdom, Ukraine, and the United States. A stunning 15 countries, all represented in our DLG cohort. And yes, I believe that truly deserves a round of applause. Throughout the year, we've engaged with ideas that shape the very fabric of international relations. From realpolitik, international law, the integration of the EU system, but also the power of persuasion, the soft force of culture, and yes, even the curious logic of Twitter diplomacy. These concepts now lie before us, and no longer is it only about discovering them, but about using them, with courage, with ambition, and with wisdom. Years from now, we may find ourselves once more walking the halls of the Diplomatic Academy, searching for our own proud faces in the gallery, knowing that we became part of Austrian history. The Diplomatic Academy of Vienna speaks through the centuries. Founded in 1754 under Empress Maria Theresa as the Oriental Academy, it represents a tradition we have not only inherited, but proudly continued. I cannot tell you whether diplomacy will save the world, but I have to come to ask myself, what does it really mean to have had the honor of studying at such a prestigious institution? And in this search, I find myself drawn to the words of a great diplomat and Nobel laureate in literature, Alexis Léger-Léger, better known as Saint John Perse, who once wrote, "Je parle à tous les hommes sur tous les monts de la terre." I would like to speak to all people on all the mints of the earth. It's an exotic sentence, and yet it holds a simple but powerful truth. It reminds me that perhaps the answer to both questions is this: to be able to speak to all women and men, to the earth itself, and to the mint that shapes each land, transdisciplinarily, to understand what gives it freshness, what makes it alive, like a grain that holds promise, to know this, where the freshness lies, and to never forget it. That is what I wish for you and for your future, dear colleagues. Wherever it may guide you, I cannot say whether diplomacy can save the world, but what we have learned leaves us with a sense of determination as we step forward into a seriousness we will, for better or worse, choose to embrace. Let us look ahead with ambition, with purpose, and with a sense of elegance into a future we look forward to, and one that, when we look back one day, we will know began right here, at the Diplomatic Academy of Vienna, where the seeds were planted along our paths and through us into the world, bringing with them an air of freshness. It is here that we began to shape our own, very own style of bridge building, step by step, word by word, across cultures, languages, and minds. Thank you.
I'm the first one who is allowed to call you graduates now. Graduates. Please give a big round of applause to the brass quartet of the orchestra of the University of Vienna. I have to apologize. It was not planned that there are words also mentioned about me at this ceremony, but thank you very much. Okay. So the curtain falls, the play begins. Thank you.